Hello, everybody, and good Friday evening. It is finally the weekend, and you are here at b.hive Productions. What's the buzz at the Hive? We're on night 5, and we got a special guest tonight, which I'll be introducing to you here in just a moment. I'm going to talk about what's going on here at the Hive, since that's kind of the purpose of the whole thing. Um, I am currently working on the novel. Ballad of Broken Bird. It's semi-autobiographical. Um and I'm currently on chapter 33. I didn't think it was going to be that long, but Broken Bird has some more people to meet and some things to do and some amends to make yet and get some closure. I have also been working on when the moment hits me short stories to put together into a horror anthology. Because just because I'm writing a serious novel doesn't mean I'm stopping with the horror, of course. One of the stories I wrote is called A Midnight Dreary. It is a prequel to my Anti-Claus is Coming to Town, if you remember that from last year's Christmas special. It is about the origin of the Anti-Claus. I also, worked on and finished a story called Child Predator. And that is about a well, pretty much what it says, child predator. So it was a little disturbing to write, and I did have to put in an author's note at the end there, just because it made me feel really uncomfortable writing it. But that will be coming out maybe this year, maybe next year. We'll see how that works. And the other story that I'm working on currently, um, as well as the novel, is a story called Baggage. And I actually read what I have so far with Stephanie, and she seems to like it pretty well. We could talk a little bit about that later. Been working on some swag for you drones out there. Um, I've got guitar picks that I am designing, bookmarks I'm in the process of designing, stickers that are going to have a little link on them so that you can scan them, little G code. You can scan them and it'll take you here or take you to the YouTube page. T-shirts is something I really, really want to do, but I got to generate some income. And yeah, so we're going to work on that. Um, Also, I'm working on an album project with a friend of mine in town. It's gonna be about 21 cover songs, and, we got a few people we're gonna be pulling in, to help us out with that project. That's in the works, it's coming. There's an author talk that I was asked to give that's on August 22nd at 7 PM at the Winthrop Library, and, I've never given an author talk before, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I'm just gonna talk about my books. So that's kind of exciting. And I am also beginning to uh, give guitar lessons. I'm giving a guitar lesson to a friend of mine that I work with, and he is a farmer. So we were supposed to practice last night. We were supposed to play or learn how to play guitar last night, but him and his dad were getting ready to plant because it's spring and it's time to put seeds in the ground. So also the other thing coming up is I will be officiating my sister's wedding, which is also coming up. I believe it's this year in October, something like that. Yeah, I better double check the dates on that. So anyhow, so um, I'd like to introduce our special guest here. Her name is Stephanie Schultze. She paints. She's got a really great eye for photography. Um, and even though she doesn't probably believe me, but I think she's a pretty good singer. She's sang with me in some of the songs I've done. She's also she likes to drum, and yeah, so quite a few talents. She kind of hides from everybody, but she's quite a treat. And I'm lucky enough to be dating her. So, and before I say any more, let me just introduce you to her. And we have Stephanie Schultze. Hi, Steph. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Okay, Steph. Let's talk about where you're from originally.
Mound, Minnesota
Okay.
is where I grew up. Um, let's see. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in Mound and Watertown, Minnesota, Minneapolis, and yeah. But I'm from Mound.
Spent a little time in the Dakotas too, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Well, for a while with my dad. Yep, out in
Mm,
Bismarck.
okay.
Yeah, that was fun.
Um, one of our viewers, Terry Moko, says hello.
Hello.
So, can you
Hi.
see the comments over there on your screen?
No. Nope, I can't.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind then.
I'm
You
not.
must
Huh.
you
Okay.
must have to be a VIP in order to see the cool stuff.
I guess you got to be really important.
Yeah. Yeah, important. So,
Important.
well, give me a little bit about your background. You have kids.
I do. I have three daughters, and I'm terrible because they're all in their 30s. Let's just say that. Um, yeah, and that's Cass, Robin, and Kaylee Raven, and Kaylee's my youngest, obviously. Um, and one of them has Robin. She moved down to Texas, and I miss her dearly. But yeah, I have three daughters and I have three grandchildren, Sully and Zoe and Neil. And
Well,
Neil is also in Texas. So,
Sully is really Edsel.
oh, Edsel. Yes, he prefers Edsel.
Yes,
Um,
Grandma, don't mix that up now.
yeah, I got nervous and I totally,
That's
I
totally
can hear,
okay.
I could hear him right now. It's Edsel.
It's Edsel. Oh my God, Grandma, I can't believe you just said that online.
Right. Oh, man. But yeah.
So so let's talk about well, one of the reasons why I became interested in becoming your friend and getting to know you were your photographs. Um I mean, everybody, ever since the dawn of cell phones, everybody's a photographer, right?
All right. Yeah.
And some people have an eye for it, and some people don't. You're definitely one of the people that really have a great eye for capturing things because I really am not a big city person anymore. I haven't because I've lived in the country for so long, but you've really captured St. Paul really well in your photos.
Thanks.
And and yeah, just what did you just decide, I'm gonna just start snapping pictures or
Uh, I guess when I was, before cell phones, I had a few cameras. I couldn't afford like the big fancy cameras, but I'd do what I could with 110s or 35, and it kind of sucked because you'd have to wait to see what you actually captured, until you could get them processed. I always wanted to have my own dark room and everything, but just never worked that way. And I probably would have wound up doing that, but then cell phones became a thing, smartphones. Um, but yeah, growing up, I was constantly taking pictures of the weirdest stuff. Sorry.
you can
Um,
say shit on here.
and I always wanted to be a photographer. I guess I was always, you know, pull over. I got to take a picture of that. Turn around, go back. Um, I
Yes,
was
I'm
always
well
doing
aware
that.
of that.
Very often, my kids would be sitting on the side of the road in the car while I was out running to take a picture of something. Um, but then, yeah, then cell phones became a thing, and um, the first cell phone I had, it was a rumor, and you could take photos with it. You could sort of get the internet, and the photos were kind of grainy and weird, but um, those actually are still some of my favorite photos um, that I had. And then, yeah, then I got, a smartphone and was able to take pictures of everything. And it's like my first cell phone was an iPhone 4. And so you couldn't store very many
Oh,
pictures on that. And I didn't have the cloud or anything. And so
I
I
think that was
lost a lot of pictures.
I think that was
Um,
pre-cloud days back then. Yeah.
right. And try to download them onto your laptop or computer. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yeah. So, um, yeah, now it's so easy to take pictures of things, that I find interesting and um as you know. But it used to drive Cassie crazy because she'd come with me to, ride the bus to work when I worked in St. Paul.
Mhm.
And it'd be like 5 a.m. and it's still dark out, and like there's still like the zombie kind of people floating around. And I'd be downtown like taking pictures of things and not paying attention to my surroundings and just looking like a tourist. I was kind of a peg, I guess. Um, but yeah, so that used to bugcast, but I got some of the best pictures um, before the sun came up, or yeah. So,
Yeah, I
and I
know.
voted for St. Paul, so sorry.
Yeah. Well, I know when I lived in Belle Plaine on the farm out there, and you had that whole open sky, and I really didn't need to do a whole lot of anything except for just snap the picture. I didn't even need filters because nature is just so awesome to photograph. It's like, hey, look at me, take a picture of me.
Right?
Terry Terry said that you need to publish a photography book because the photos that you post on Facebook are awesome.
Oh, thank you. Um,
So,
I was thinking about like Google Google Photos has you can make books out of
mhm.
your pictures. I don't know what that looks like. I know I
Well,
used to try to print my pictures off, but they don't look very good.
I know you can. So where I publish my books through,
Hmm.
there's a way that you can make like a coffee table book and stuff like that. So
Cool.
maybe that's something we can look into.
That would be cool. Because I
So
have like
yeah.
all these different like categories of my pictures, and yeah,
Mhm.
like
If
themes.
if if you guys want to see the photographs we're talking about, you can check out Steph's Instagram. It's at Starbelly3. That's STARBELLY and the number 3. And her Instagrams are really awesome. So, and she usually puts a little soundtrack behind it. So
Yeah, that's
kind of
like the easiest
cool.
way to do it is put them in a reel.
Yeah. Hey
So,
Chuck, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for buzzing in, buddy. So, okay, well then let's look at your paintings then. How about what got you into the painting, the drawing and the painting?
um, well, when I was growing up, I didn't really, I have a sister and she was the artist, and that
Mhm.
happens in families, where one kid is like recognized for something, and then um, she was the artist and everything, and I was kind of um the the klutzy skateboarding kid who was always blowing bubbles, and you know, um, and I always had a very heavy hand. I hold my pencil wrong, I guess. And so I didn't do a whole lot of drawing and stuff. I did a lot of doodling when I got into like high school, you know, drawing all that stuff on band names and stuff and album covers, and um but it wasn't until like 2008, maybe 2007, when I actually started drawing, when somebody like just told me a few tricks, they were like, the world is not, it doesn't have outlines, so
Right.
stop drawing the eyes, and you have to just shade. And I started doing that, and then I started coloring them in, and coloring my drawings, and then I started painting with acrylics. I started painting on old paintings, already done paintings.
Sure.
And that was fun. I did a lot of painting on wood boards and stuff. I guess I was more of um, a found items kind of painter. Like I just paint on everything. I mean, nothing escaped my painting for a while. I had speakers covered in paint, and then I started using oils. I was really afraid to start that, but oh my gosh, I loved oil painting because you could just manipulate the paint. But if you went too far, you had like just mud. Um, and so I was painting a lot back in 2010, and um, I even showed some of my paintings at a coffee shop in Burnsville. That was pretty neat. And then I stopped for a while. Life got a little hectic and everything, and um, I picked it back up when I first started counseling. I was counseling people. I became a substance use disorder counselor, and I think it was a way for me to cope. Um,
Sure.
and I had thought about bringing some of my paintings into my office, and the paintings I had were the older ones, and they were just really too much.
Mm.
Like they just were. You could tell that I wasn't doing well. Um, at the time when I painted those. So I started repainting them, and I just kind of morphed from there. Then I bring those into my office, and my clients would like, dude, who did that? Who did that painting? I'd be like, it was mine. And and I got a lot of my clients started, expressing themselves too, and in either painting or drawing or making music, and um, yeah. So, and my paintings have morphed over the years. Um, I've noticed that I've not been using such, I don't know, you had said that my paintings had layers and everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that they were too busy. And it does kind of look like uh I don't know, they're picking up more of a calm feel, I guess, and that's
You
just
want
probably because
did you want to
well,
show us some examples of what you
uh
got?
yeah. This is the fun part. I'm gonna actually carry this with me, makes it easier. Okay, so this one, let's see if I can get some light on this. It's too big. That's what she said. I'm gonna turn the light on here. Okay, so this one is one of the busier ones. I don't know how well you can see it.
Oh yeah.
There. Uh, okay. I should have. Anyway, so that's what I mean by the busy ones. And then they started morphing into like found objects, So I've got the birch bark ones that I made, and it's kind of a shadow box, um and this one this one I love because everybody this was on my wall in my office um for 3 years, and it's been added to um over those 3 years. And I don't know, it's got all this stuff, like it says you're my sunshine, and or you are someone's sunshine, and it's got a lot of the good mellow greens and stuff. And
Yeah. There it's
yeah,
not as harsh
Right.
you know?
Totally not as busy. And it doesn't hurt to look at it. It doesn't give
Right.
you a headache. I mean, it's still kind of, it's got the layers and stuff, but it doesn't hurt to look at it.
Yeah. I just like picking out stories from your paintings.
Oh,
You
right.
know?
It's always fun to find the things that, you know, when I'm painting, um, sometimes things will start to look like something else, and I'll turn them in, I'll be able to manipulate them into things. Like I have a painting somewhere that has a purple monkey in it, and it didn't start out as, oh, I'm drawing a purple monkey. But yeah, I noticed lately, like this one, of course, this is my first Georgia O'Keeffe, my lady part one. I mean, it's kind of hard to draw a flower without it looking, like,
Like a lady part. Yeah.
yeah. But my kids used to be like, God, Mom, you got a lot of dicks in those pictures. And I'm like, well, yeah, it would look like, it's like, wow, is it like some subconscious thing? But it's kind of hard to make paintings like that without seeing dicks in it. But
Yeah.
um, and then yeah, so I've been kind of mellowing out, going more towards drawing actual things. Like I think my favorite painting I've done of an actual thing would be my Breaking Bad First National Bank picture, which is out there, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got the Breaking Bad camper parked outside the First National Bank, and because First National Bank is my favorite building in St. Paul. So yeah,
You know what I think would be neat is my friend Bobby that's opening up the antique shop, and he's looking for different uses for that space
yeah,
as not just an antique store, but like community stuff. And he's really, really supportive of the art community. It'd be kind of cool to maybe gallery some of your stuff. I don't know how comfortable you would be with that, but because I've done galleries with my stuff when I was in art school, and I was always nervous about it, but it would be kind of cool just to say, hey, here's my art, and
it would
not,
be cool.
and then meet the artist or something like that. I don't know. I'll talk to him about it
Yeah,
because it'd be good for all the artists locally
to
to,
have a month or a week. To,
yeah, and
yeah,
just be a featured artist.
that's a
And
really good idea.
you could feature your photography and your paintings.
Right. And
Boom.
he could also like even have like an art space where people can just come and.
Yeah, that was one of the things him and I had talked about. So, yeah,
That'd be cool.
that'd be really cool. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you sharing your art with everybody and everybody at the Hive, all the drones. And so you talked a bit about being a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how you make your bread and butter.
Yeah,
Because it's very rare that any of us writers or photographers or painters, you know,
make
subsist
money off
off
of
of
that.
subsist off of our art. So let's talk about harm reduction because I think people only have, if any, a shallow idea of what the harm reduction community is and what harm reduction um, counseling does. You know,
Right. Well, harm reduction is it's really simple actually. For a lot of people, when they have people who use drugs or alcohol, a lot of times they, recovery, like if they have to go to treatment or anything, or they choose to go to treatment, they're expected to just quit using. Um, and that doesn't work a lot. Some people, there are some people who can, just quit using, and they go to 12-step programs, and they're okay with that. But for the most part, uh, in my experience, it doesn't work. Abstinence-based programs are pretty strict, and it's just like that kind of recovery community is, well, it's the biggest thing in Minnesota. It's called the Minnesota model,
Mm-hmm.
and um, too many people have died because of that, um, because of being expected to quit using, and it's pounded into their brain that if they use again, they're gonna like go off the handle and lose everything, and stigma, and then there's the tough love part of it, and none of that works very well. And so harm reduction is basically, it's recovery in whatever way works, where you well, Dan Big, who is one of the harm reduction kings, and he passed away recently. Well, not recently, but a while ago. He founded the Chicago Recovery Alliance, and he made it legal. He fought to make it legal to have Narcan and to hand Narcan out, which is an opioid overdose reversal drug. And now the Surgeon General uh, says that everybody should carry Narcan. So it's kind of cool. But his philosophy was any positive change. Um, and so, you know, um, I've had a syringe exchange program where we often would just be making sure that somebody got, an abscess taken care of. And um, we would hand out sterile syringes, and we would teach people how to, inject properly, um, all the way to, people wanting to just quit completely. Um, so the main thing was just to never ever turn your back on someone. I always, I'd always walk alongside someone, and I never wanted anyone to feel bad that they use drugs. People use drugs for all kinds of reasons, and um, yeah, and it's a struggle just to make it in the world, and there's no reason why somebody should be left alone because they continue to use drugs. There's a lot of people I know. Well, some of my clients were lawyers and doctors and stuff, and they were still using, and they were just using differently. Um, so yeah, that's basically harm reduction, and
Yeah, I think
yeah,
there's a lot of different types of treatments centers that are opening up now. I mean, mostly on the West Coast, um, where they're trying different approaches than abstinence based recovery, and
yeah,
I think I think I like I went through treatment myself when I was a young man, and it was abstinence based, but I find more that they basically focused on the addiction, and they didn't focus on the cause of the addiction or the
right,
symptoms, they're like, what was causing me to do this and stuff.
right.
So yeah, I think that's very important. Yeah,
Yeah, we
so
have
now
like, yeah, the East Coast. I mean, there's a lot of it seems to be Minnesota, and there's a few states that are really not like at all harm reduction, but like the East Coast and even Texas is just a good spot for finding harm reduction. Yeah, West Virginia, where they had such a horrible epidemic with the Oxycontin,
Oh
um,
yeah.
they've got, I mean, they have the Church of Safe Injection.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's a really, really good movement going on now with harm reduction. Um, at the last opioid summit I went to in Atlanta, Georgia, the CDC was on the side of harm reduction. And the Surgeon General, I mean, just about everybody there was about harm reduction because people are starting to be more and more aware of how opioids, you can't just stop using them.
Right.
That's it changes a person physiologically. So, you have cravings forever. I mean, and there's no reason why you have to suffer, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you did that in the cities, and that's when you were living out there, and now you're living out here in the throp with the rest of us. Well, with
Yeah.
the rest of us. With You're living out here with me.
Mm-hmm.
And what types of what do you think is a big change for you? Is it a good change, a bad change? What do you think about living out here in a small town? I mean, I know
Uh,
you grew up in a small town, but
I did.
you you really enjoyed yourself in St. Paul, at least the
Yeah, I
most.
mean, it was being in St. Paul and Minneapolis and stuff down there. You're kind of anonymous, you know. Um, you don't, you are. I mean, you're around a lot of people, but you're just one in the crowd.
Right,
So I don't know. I know that there's a whole different outlook on things out here, especially like with those recent overdoses and what people think should be done to the person who provided the um, fentanyl. Um, and I don't share those same views. And
right.
I kind of feel um, kind of overwhelmed when that that sort of stuff comes up because I'm just me,
Right.
and it's hard to advocate for a cause. I guess you could call it a cause or a way of living, or even kind of, a little further thinking into the subject, um, because when people are set in their ways about things, they're not going to hear any different until something like that happens to them.
Well,
Um,
I think even now, like, information and misinformation is so readily available now, and
mhm,
people are just gonna dig and dig and dig until they find the information that they want,
to
and
support
then
their belief.
yeah, and they run with it, and whether it's the truth or not. And that's a really sad state of affairs, and it's gotta make, especially when you're involved with a cause that cares for people, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, you're
right.
providing care for people, and it's
Yeah,
getting rid of
and
that
and
stigmata.
it's stigma, yeah, and it's like people will, um, okay, so like the thing is nobody had to overdose and die out here. And if they were not, had they not been afraid to let somebody know that they were using,
Mhm.
they could have provided their people, their friends or their partners or whoever with Narcan, and they could have been watching out for each other, you know. Um, and but you can't do it. I don't know personally what it's like, but after seeing some of the things on the Facebook thing, I was like, there's no way that somebody would be able to um just tell somebody, yeah, I'm going to use tonight, will you kind of keep an eye on me, and here's some
Yeah.
Narcan just in case. And just down in Mankato though, we have the Rural AIDS Action Network, who is run by my friend Mary McCarthy, where you can get naloxone. I mean, they'll bring it to you if they need to. You can get um, harm reduction supplies, and it's such a difference between the two. And then I might go into when I got pulled over the other night by a police officer, and he decided to make me get out of my car in the middle of the night because he saw a torch lighter and agates in my car, and therefore he insisted I must be on drugs because he took a big long 7-day course on how to recognize if someone's on drugs. And I mean, that was really awful. And so, yeah, that never, I mean, I was so taken aback that that happened. That would never happen down in the cities, you know. The St. Paul
Right.
police, they just watch you go by. They don't care. They got bigger fish to fry. Um, in fact, they show up
Well, and I
when
think I should
somebody
probably.
overdosed, and they would be helpful. They wouldn't take the person off to jail. They wouldn't take, they go by Steve's law. And but yeah, out here,
I think I should add that you were pulled over because your license plate was crooked, not because of erratic driving or anything.
right,
So, yeah.
yep,
But
yeah,
anyway,
that was, yeah. So that happened, and so I'm a little overwhelmed, but at the same time, um, being out here, it's kind of neat, like how everybody, like you're the mayor of Winthrop, and
well, I
and
mean, I bartended and bounced, and and my landlords, my one landlord who was the mayor of Winthrop, they pretty much introduced me to a lot of the people that I met when I first got here. They introduced me to a lot of people, and then then I frequented the bar quite a bit and bartended and bounced, and that's how I got to know everybody, and that's how everybody thought I was the mayor for a while. And
right, and like, isn't that how it goes with like small towns? You either know everybody from church or you know everybody from the bar. And I
right,
kind of like how your friend is opening up this community, kind of place where it's not church and it's not a bar.
right,
It's just for people to go and hang out.
right,
Um,
yeah,
I think that's a really neat idea. So,
yeah. I'm really hoping it picks up for them, and it really takes hold, because this community is always crying to have something that for everybody, not just people who like to walk or people who want a splash pad. It's They're trying to open it for everybody, to
right.
enjoy everything. So
Not all of us
yeah,
have kids, yeah, aren't little
right.
kids.
Well, and that's why I think that you would make a very good addition to this community. I mean, you bring in big city ideas and things that are working out there, and you're bringing them here to the rural community. And I mean, I hope you don't mind. You just got hired at a treatment center in
Hutchinson.
Hutchinson.
Yep. Yep.
And you got a
So,
pretty nice position out there. So,
yeah.
you bring your experience and your education to that.
I
So I
I'm
mean, it's
like so
awesome.
happy about that. So happy, and um I'll be able to, it's easier to practice what you preach when you're actually preaching it, and so be able to kind of get myself back into the whole um mindfulness meditation thing. And yeah, because I am like always just whoa. And so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to settle your ass down sometimes.
Right? I know. Can't sit
So,
still. But that's the joy of ADHD. So
yeah. So, do you got anything you want to add? Does anybody out there that's watching have any questions for Steph or anything like that? Comments?
no.
Anybody want me to go in there and just smack her around? No, because
Oh,
I'll just get violated and yeah,
violated by me?
probably, yeah, yeah. No, you are. So,
Hmm.
but anyway, well, thank you very much for being my second guest
Thank
here.
you very much for
Here,
having me. And hi to my mom and Cassie and Robin and Kaylee and Neil and Zoe and Edsel
Edsel.
and
Yes,
everybody else. And yeah, I hope to start meeting some of y'all in Winthrop and all of Brad's other friends across the country because he knows everybody everywhere. So
Terry says, "Welcome to the small town of Winthrop."
thank you, Terry.
There's your official Winthrop welcome. So
Thank you.
she's actually got us. I don't know. Do you like Bloody Marys?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. As long as they
She
don't have like a bunch of cheeseburgers and stuff in
Oh
them.
no. Terry's got a secret Bloody Mary mix that she shared with Lindsay,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's a family secret, but
Oh, I want to try it. So
I've
yeah.
had some. Holy moly, it's pretty deadly. But yeah, Terry's a good gal to know. A lot of people here are pretty good people. So yeah. So well, thanks again for coming on. Thank you guys for tuning in and getting to know Steph a little bit. So, when I brag about her, you guys know I didn't just make her up, and it's just my pretend girlfriend. I pay her $20 a week to be my girlfriend.
Oh my God.
So anyway, coming up on Tuesday, Tunes for Tuesday, I've decided to do the White Buffalo because
Oh,
I'm
go
always
figure.
talking about them all the time. And I'm like, why am I talking about them all the time? But I never ever have like a night dedicated to them. So I'm going to inundate you with some White Buffalo on Tuesday.
Good.
And Apocalypse Hump Day, we're going into chapter uh chapter 18 is what we're going into. And we will be joining Len and the girls. They just got welcomed into the Moon Valley County Fairgrounds, which is the last stronghold against the deadheads out there. So, Steph has actually been kind of key into a lot of the books I've been writing lately because I write them and then I read them to her and she kind of critiques me. So, and
I love that.
I'm doing okay.
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay.
I love like that the last book you did. I watched that come together like from the beginning to the end, and I was so amazed with your ability. Like,
Oh, Pavor Nocturnus.
yeah, it was so cool just to watch it grow and become what it was because I think it became something that you didn't plan, the whole way
Yeah.
it went. It was
Yeah.
really cool. And I love my character.
Yes. So those of you that don't know, Stephanie is she's in the book. She's Stephanie Ornstein
Like
in the book.
the new guy. Sorry.
She's got a pretty good role. A little girl going through fever nightmares where she's being eaten alive by starfish. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I still don't like starfish, so
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 oh, she's also since I got you on here, she is also the hang on, I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna she is the artist that painted the back cover of Pavor Nocturnus. This
Captain
is
Kangaroo.
this is her work, and that's her character there as a little girl. Captain Kangaroo on the background there, and the starfish are climbing her, trying to eat her.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I like
that's
the
her
one
work.
hanging onto her pigtail.
Yeah. You and
Yeah.
your damn pigtails.
And yeah, so that did come from some reality too. When I was in the hospital, I was having I had such a high fever as a little girl, that I was hallucinating, and Captain Kangaroo was sitting in the corner of my hospital room. It scared the hell out of me, but yeah. So that was part of it.
He's
Okay,
a little creepy.
a
A little
little
bit.
bit, yeah.
Little bit, yeah. All right. All right. Well, we are going to wrap her up here. You guys get back to your weekend. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Steffi, for sharing your talents with us
Thank you for having me.
and your story. Appreciate that. So,
Thank you.
all right, everybody, have a good night. Thanks. Deuces or something like
Peace
that.
out.
Peace and a bottle of hair grease.